Hey everybody out there, it's Mr. Trent from the Delta Rivers Nature Center here in Pine Bluff. Now, since we're all kind of observing social distancing right now because of the coronavirus, I wanted to bring something that you all could do at home and actually something you could take out with you on some adventures outside. So today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be teaching you how to make jerky for yourselves at home. Now you can use any meat you really enjoy, okay, whether that's store-bought beef, okay, some fish that you either bought or caught, okay, or it could be venison, something that you took from the wild, okay. Now, disclaimer here, since we are working in the kitchen, kids don't do any of this alone without any adult supervision. And parents and guardians out there, invite the kids in the kitchen. There are several steps in this process that the kids can definitely help out with. So first what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going over how to prepare your meat for creating this jerky. And today what I'm going to be using is I'm going to be using some wild caught salmon. Alright, enjoy. Alright everybody, so here we are at the meat prepping stage. So what I did is I sliced up my meat into small kind of slivers. Okay, you want your meat to be relatively thin, okay, but you don't want it to be too thin because when you start to dehydrate, you're going to be removing a lot of that moisture and making these pieces even smaller. So about 1/4 of an inch or so, okay, is where you're going to want your meat to be. Alright, now I've also created my own marinade for this, but there are jerky kits and things like that out there, so you can use pretty much anything you want. But I went ahead and created my own marinade, and I'm going to marinate this meat for a little while in here. Now since this is fish and it's going to be a little bit easier for that marinade to permeate through the meat, I don't have to marinate it near as long. Say if you're doing beef or if you're doing venison, you may want to do it 12 hours to 36 hours, somewhere in there. Okay, but with this I won't do it nearly that long. Another thing I wanted to touch point on is that when you do slice your meat, what you want to do is you want to cut with the grain of the meat. What that does is it helps make it to where that meat won't fall apart as easily when it starts to dehydrate. If you cut against the grain like you would a steak or something like that, when you start to dehydrate it, you'll get all of those different sections, all those different parts of the muscle actually breaking apart on you. Now, when you're marinating your meat, you want to go ahead and marinate your meat in the fridge. You want to be as safe with this meat as possible. You want to keep it at adequate temperatures. So go ahead and throw it in your fridge and let it cool marinate. Let it marinate inside that refrigerator for as long as you need. Alright everyone, so to do this I'm going to be using a dehydrator, but not everyone has a dehydrator. You can also use your oven. Now what you're going to do to use your oven is you're going to put your oven on the lowest setting. You're going to put your meat on a cooling rack over a baking sheet or a cookie pan inside of that oven to go ahead and prepare your jerky. Now you want to check it occasionally to make sure, or check it for doneness. So what you'll do is you'll try and bend your jerky, and when it bends and it'll crack a little bit but not quite break, that's when your jerky is done. And you can actually break that piece open, okay, and make sure that the inside of it is dry. You don't want any moisture left inside your jerky because that's what's going to lead to spoilage, and that's going to lead to unsafe jerky. Now on the flip side, with the dehydrator like this, you actually want to use the highest setting typically that your dehydrator has, which is going to be around that 160 to 175 degree area in there, okay, or whatever it says your jerky setting is, and you can check your owner's manual on that. So after a few hours in the marinade, what I did is I went ahead and I drained my meat. I put it into a colander, okay, went ahead and drained it. And removed as much excess moisture as I could using paper towels and patted it dry. Okay. Then, as I said before, you want to lay it out to where none of this meat's touching so that air can freely move around the meat when you're laying it on your dehydrator racks. Alright, now we're going to load our dehydrator racks into our dehydrator. I'm going to go ahead and close my lid here and get her started. So what I'm going to do is going to power her on and turn her up to that highest temperature and let it do what it's supposed to do. Alright everybody, so it's 4 hours after we put everything into the dehydrator, and when we're checking for doneness, what we're looking for is for the jerky to bend but not quite break. It can have a little bit of cracking and stuff like that in there, but it's not quite breaking. And you can break it open and even check to see whether or not there's still some moisture inside of there. Now we got some pieces that are a little bit thicker, so we're going to have to run those a little bit longer, but this piece is pretty much done. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope you enjoy making some jerky for yourselves with your friends and your family, and I hope you enjoy eating it. This stuff's pretty good. Have a good one.